Welcome to Changing the Channel with Joe Garner, a show about shifting our individual and collective beliefs on what is possible for the future of humanity. As our understanding of how our reality continues to shift, we are at a point of reunification between science and spirituality. What does the world look like when we break free from the generational trauma that has kept most humans playing small for thousands of years and step into our full power as the co-creators of this reality? I always ask that you keep an open mind with this podcast. Ask yourself what resonates with my truth at this time and what does not. Respect your intuition, but see if you can get through the whole show because there might be that little nugget buried deep in the conversation that unlocks something for you. Welcome back to Changing the Channel. I am joined today by a wonderful brother, Daniel Jackson. Welcome to the show, Daniel.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. So, Daniel, bring us up to speed as far as what your path has been in life. Give us a brief understanding of where you started, the journey that you've taken, and where you're at right now. What are you working on?
I was just a regular guy, a regular kid. Grew up in a town in New Jersey. There was a battlefield where I lived, and so the area was spiritually involved. And then at the point when I was 17, my no one else in my family, because we had all been seeing things, there. No one else was seeing anything anymore. It was just me who was continuing to see things. Um, And that was throughout my life, and it was around right before I turned 50 years old is when things were put together for me, and Spirit was trying to show me some things, trying to test me in a way to see if I was gonna move forward with this or not, and I decided to do that. So at that point, I ended up, speaking to a few different mediums, and they were all telling me the same story about me, and, so one of them told me I needed to make a decision if I was gonna move forward with it or not, and that I had to have a conversation with God or source, whatever people like to use, and that's what I did. And at that point, once I did that, everything changed for me, and that set forth this new journey for me to be on, and in which I do my best to try to help as many people as I can. Uh, so from that point, which was almost 7 years ago, I'm about to turn 57. I have been on this path of trying to bring people into the light of understanding what is our real purpose. Why are we here? What is our being? Why are we really being here? What is the truth of everything? And so that's what I try to do. I ended up writing a book about it because it wasn't my decision to do that. Spirit brought that to me in meditation and showed me um, like a little movie that they were showing me of a man writing a book, and I asked them what was that about, and they said it's about you. And I was like, oh, okay, you want me to write a book? And I got yes. So I did that. And the book is more or less just uh, to show people what I went through on this journey of being what I am now. To give them a sense to let them know that if you're going through these types of same things that I did, go out and find your people. Go out and find others who can help you with this. You're not alone in this world. There are others who are either going through it or have been through it themselves, and they can help guide you to where you need to be. But it is ultimately your choice to decide if you're going to do that or not. But yeah, so it's more like a self-help book of showing you where to go and what to do. But at the end, it's more important. It's chapter 12. It's called the basics, and these are 25 messages that came from my guides, which are archangels, all archangels. Regular spirit does talk to me, but I don't get my answers from them. And these messages are to help us to become a better human beings, and in turn help us to help others to become better human beings of the way that we treat each other. So that and then when you do that and you're helping others to become better ones, you're also helping yourself at the same time. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah, the reciprocity of helping others.
Yes.
I think I want to take a minute from the show to share how you can support Changing the Channel. This show is my passion project, and if you feel called to support, the best place to start is by subscribing and sharing the podcast on whatever platform you're listening. You can also use the link in the show description to provide one-time or monthly support. Next would be to check out my website in the show notes, where you can become a VIP of the show and check out the many offerings I have to support people on their journey. Finally, you can engage with the Q&A and polls to have a direct say in the direction of the show. I'm forever thankful for your support. And now, back to the show.
Yes, because
Definitely.
yes, that's what our true purpose is. Our true purpose is our purpose is not becoming a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher. I mean, you will fulfill your purpose while doing that, but you're going to fulfill your purpose by doing one thing, and that's being human. And our real purpose is we're here to help each other just because we can, just because we should, just for the sake of it.
That's a beautiful message. I really love that. So that is the meaning behind life then, right? Is to help others to
Absolutely,
and
yes. But
so
in a in
many.
a in a physical way, that help that you're doing is that you're helping them to do something they cannot do for themselves, or you're helping them to learn how to do it for themselves. But just
Right.
but like just giving them like we like to do in this world. Let's just give them some money and set them on their way. That's not doing any help. They we're here to learn things.
So teaching them and helping them
Absolutely.
understand, okay, here's how to fish.
Here's
Here's
how to
what
fish.
you're
Right.
supposed.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, because if you just give them the fish, they're just going to eat it and they're going to be hungry again. Give them the hunger of knowledge instead. Let them
Right.
help them to figure things out for themselves. Don't just let them, because that's what we have spirit guides for. They're not just here. They're not here to fix our lives. They're here to help us to get through our lives as easy as we can. They will help us, but we have to learn to listen. We have to trust, and we have to follow through with what they are trying to do.
Now, do you have any tips on how to connect with, how to listen to, how to be able to understand those spirit guides?
We get these tips all on our own all the time. We just don't pay attention to them. We call that intuition. We call it gut feelings. When you get these types of things, in a sense, where I give an analogy for people, if you're driving down the street in your car and you see a car in front of you, and then you say, "I want to pass the car," but you get a gut feeling that says, "Don't pass the car." Well, then don't pass the car. That's your soul trying to talk to you. That's what your intuition is. It's your soul trying to talk to you. It's trying to guide you through your life, but we have to learn to listen to it. We have to learn to trust it and learn to follow through with it. And how do you know when people don't follow through with it? Well, because later on you're in the hospital talking to a friend who just got into a car accident, and they tell you three words, very simple words. They tell you, I just saw that car in front of me, Joe, and I wanted to pass it. And then I said, and then I just knew. And when they say I just knew, that means their soul was trying to talk to them. And they said, but I just did it anyway. And now here I am. I'm in the hospital. Yeah. Because they use their ego. And the reason they got their ego is because they learned how to have their ego, because the world wants you to have that, because they don't want you to believe or have any trust or faith within yourself to do anything on your own.
Right. Does that seem like that is there's a reason behind that? Why would the world not want you to trust your intuition, to trust
So they could
your
have power and
higher
control over you.
potential?
Yeah, they want to have power and control over you. They want you to believe that only they can do anything for you. Only they can cure you. Only they will take care of you. The What they need to do is they need to stop talking. And we need to stop listening, because it doesn't do us any good. Does the world really take care of us? No. Do they really cure us of anything? No. They don't want to cure us of anything, because if they cured us, then they wouldn't be able to make any money off of it. So it's all the power and control.
So then let's talk about solutions to the problems. What do you see as far as allowing people to trust their intuition, allowing people and as more people begin to trust that intuition, to begin to really understand that we're all interconnected, that we all have this field of energy that we're a part of, and that we're each kind of interplaying with that field of energy with each other. And the better that one person does creates a ripple effect in that field of energy, and the better that
Right.
we all begin to do. So how do we get to a point, what are some practical solutions that we can look at as far as getting away from the separation that we've all been indoctrinated in, and getting into a more harmonious, a more unified consciousness?
Right. Stop listening to the people out there who are always trying to tell you what to do or what you need in your life. We know what we need in our lives, but we have to learn. It's about learning to trust ourselves and not always having to trust everyone else. Everyone else can give you advice as much as they want, but you're always ultimately going to make the final decision for yourself. So the actual answers for everything are all within ourselves. We just have to learn to listen to it more, to trust our gut feelings more, to actually pay attention to it when it's trying to guide us somewhere. But the only unfortunate part about that is we have too many distractions in the world. So we have to learn how to try to not listen to all the distractions in the world, the distractions of telling us that we need to work, 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 and go on vacation and have 6 cars and 7 houses and 10 boats. Does anyone really need that many? I mean, even within this spiritual business, they talk about this one word that I despise so much. It's abundance, abundance, abundance. No, it's not about abundance. It's about having enough. That's all we really need. We don't need to always acquire so many things in this world because all the things that you do acquire, you're not going to take with you when you leave this place anyway. So why bother with all of it? It's about just having enough, but it's about learning to listen to ourselves. It's about learning to listen to the answers that are within us, but also the most important part is taking the time to do that. And and that's where people have the hardest trouble with. They have trouble with trying to meditate there because they don't want to take the time and effort that it actually does. We have unfortunately taught ourselves in this world that we need an easy button. We need everything easily done for us, where that's not the case. I mean, everyone who's ever had a job knows it's not easy to go out and get a job, but they actually went out and did it. If they're going to take the time to do that, they need to take that same amount of time to learn to listen to themselves. And, and, and like I said, learn to listen and trust and then follow through. And if you're going to make a decision about something that's going to be beneficial to your life, then follow through with it and do it. But follow through with it to the full extent. Don't just cut it off because, some people who go on diets, after 2 weeks, they stop losing weight and they figure it doesn't work anymore. But it's not going to work more as long as you're not putting anything into it, because what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it.
Right, the law of reciprocity, like it always is. What you put in is
Yeah,
what you get out, and if, like you said, if you stop halfway through, or you start questioning that gut intuition, that feeling, you start saying, "Oh, well, maybe this isn't the right path," and then you start putting energy into
correct.
other things.
And
Then
then they
then
decide
you're
they're going to
negating the
change it.
energy that's right. Then you're negating the intuition, the pathway that has been laid out for you before you even came here, before you incarnated
Yeah,
into this 3D reality.
yeah. We just get stuck with that whole what. The unfortunate thing we get stuck with is what's in it for me, and they see what's in it for me is a monetary value. That's what most people are looking for, that monetary value. But in the same way, where like Buddha believed that if you were going to go to this higher place, this higher consciousness, he would tell people that you will live in mansions that are 7 stories tall, and you will get bags and pots of gold, and because that's what people want. They're looking for this one thing that's going to make them richer, but they don't understand that the real true richness is within themselves. As with Buddha himself, did not know that he was truly happy until he got rid of all his worldly possessions. But he kept telling people that they were going to receive these things while they went into heaven, because he knew at that moment that people were looking for that richness and they had to have some type of goal. But he also knew at the point when they would leave here and go to that higher consciousness, they would also know at that point that they didn't need what they thought they needed.
Right. Now, from your perspective, are we moving towards that higher consciousness? Are we taking the
Right
steps
now,
towards it?
no, right now we're not. We are so concerned with, unfortunately, what our own government is doing or what other governments are doing. We are we are being misled, misguided by TV, television, and movies, and we're being too preoccupied with other things that are just not important. Uh, but that's for some people. Not everyone is there. Like myself, I haven't watched regular news on TV for over 6 years because I just figured it out. They're just lying to us, and I don't need to listen to them to tell me how I feel or how I need to know what I need to do. I could just look within myself to
Right.
do that. And that's what more people need to
Yeah.
get on board with. Stop listening to the outside world telling you what you need in this world, and listen to yourself and let it tell you what you need in this.
Right. And I think, it's important to kind of distinguish they're telling half truths.
Yes.
Some they are reporting on what is actually happening, but they're turning it around and saying, "Okay, well, this is what it's supposed to mean." And it's like,
Right.
well, fundamentally, nothing has meaning in the universe,
No.
right? It it's only the meaning that you assign it. And if you
Correct.
want to assign it as this is suffering, this is painful, this is sadness, this is the worst thing that could have ever happened in the
Yeah.
world, then that's the assignment of the meaning that you're going to give to it. And that's what the news media, that's what a lot of people really have gotten good at is understanding, okay, this is how to manipulate people so that they follow our directive. And again,
Correct.
they're looking to hold on to power from my perspective. They
Yes.
they want
Absolutely.
to hold on to the power that they've been able to garner over the last 100, 200, 500,000, 2,000 years.
Yeah.
They want to
Absolutely.
hang on to that power that they've been able to amass. And in that power, again, they talk about it, power corrupts,
It does.
and
It does because
absolute power
that's
corrupts
where,
absolutely.
and the way that they got it is unfortunately we ourselves in the masses did not want to take care of ourselves when we had others coming in that saying that we could take care of us for they would do it for us. So unfortunately, what we did is we relinquished the power over to them a long time ago, and now it has just gotten so out of hand that they became so power hungry. Now all they want to do is keep that power over us. So I mean, the only thing we can do at this point is take that power back, but we all have to do it together. Because we can't just write
Right.
letters and stomp our feet and cry. It's not going to do anything about it. We actually physically have to do it. So there's a point where we have to go into their offices and tell them, "You're fired. This is not working for us." We see it, and the unfortunate part is we see it. We all see it. We see it right in front of us, happening in front of us, but we just don't do anything about it. We just people believe that, oh, it'll take care of itself, but it doesn't. They talk about voting people out and voting people in. You can't do any of that because the same people that are going in and coming out, they're all the same. They all just have power and control over all of us. There is no voting anymore because the voting system doesn't work. They have a left wing and a right wing, but they're all in the same bird. We have to get rid of that bird. Start over.
Now, do you see, because what I've kind of seen is that there's a parallel structure that we can start working on building that is more decentralized, that has more autonomy than the current system, and that is more open sourced so that there aren't any there's no way to hide information. It's
Right,
all open and available to the public. And
right.
does that seem like a good way to make this transition? Again, there's several ways you can have revolutions.
Yeah,
There's one where you just burn the whole thing down and start over from scratch. There's another where you try to change and move some of the levers and hope that those levers eventually create the change. And then you
right.
can just build a parallel system as the other system eventually kind of comes down and starts
Yeah,
to crumble under its own weight as people start to see, oh, here's a better option over here, and they stop putting all their energy and power into that old system and start to move it into these new systems.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, the walls do need to come down, but we have to take the walls down. Now, do we absolutely have to take it down all at once? No, we can take it down brick by brick, but once we take that first brick down, we have to continue doing that. We can't just stop in the middle because something's not working for us. In the actual idea of everything, this was not supposed to be a United States. We were all supposed to be governed by our own state. But But again, we left the control and power over to those who already had power and control, uh, and uh, and now they have taken over everything. And so the only thing we can do is actually stand up. They call it protesting, but we need to do more than protesting. We need to actually go there and say we're tired of it, but go there and stay there for as long as possible in order to do this. But it's hard to do because people have livelihoods, they have jobs, they have the families to take care of, and but at some point, when is enough is enough?
Right. That's a decision that I think each person has to kind of decide, and
Yeah,
we're 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 definitely moving to a point where more and more, and as soon as it hits 50%, I mean that's it. That's the
yeah,
game over. Like
yeah.
that's when we have taken back our sovereignty, our power, and have made the decision that we are going to govern ourselves again.
Yeah, we have a president right now who's sending billions of dollars over to other countries for war, and now he's talking about putting the draft back in place. No,
Hmm.
no. So hopefully, maybe that will be the turning point for people to stand up and say something, or they're always, we just got over the so-called pandemic, and now they're already talking. But there's going to be more pandemics coming. Well, how would you know that? So they know that because they have it all in place, just waiting. Again, they had us under control at one point. They're going to try to do it again. So we have to see through it. We have to start looking through all these plans that they say they have for us. And it's because they are human beings as well. So
Right.
where is the difference? The difference is we have allowed these people to be in power, just like television and movies. We have allowed these people to become famous. I mean, we all come from the same place, and the same place is back home in heaven, and we're all here now. So if we were all the same back there, if we were all equal there, why are we not equal here? So we need to bring that equality back.
Hmm. Now, as we wrap this up, I always like to view it from a soul level. So from the soul level, we've all come here, right? We
You
we
bet.
chose to come here at this specific time, this specific place, this reality that we're calling the planet Earth, with um humans that believe they're separate from everybody else, and they're using their power to, you know, invoke all of these crazy changes and coercion of power, and using their power to basically dictate where humanity moves
Right.
towards. And I think those people are here to learn very specific lessons from a soul level, just as everyone else who is going through this period of time is here to learn very specific lessons on when is enough enough. When do I stand in my divinity, my sovereignty, my power, and say, no, I'm not going down that road, even though it might cause me some pain, some frustration, even as far as death. Now, hopefully it doesn't get to that point, because
Yeah.
that's, I am not in favor for, nor am I putting energy into a reality where we have to rise up and have a violent insurrection or something along
Right.
those lines.
Yeah, we don't want
That
that.
that is not a future that
No.
I am putting any of my energy or thought process into.
Yeah, we don't need that.
But from that standpoint, each person is here to kind of make a decision. Like, how far can they go into the separation until they actually have to stand on their divinity, the divinity that exists inside of them, the God that is inside of all of us.
Yes.
How far deep and down do they need to go? And that's the lesson that we're all here, and we're
Yeah.
all experiencing it in this collective manner, in this collective reality that we're all basically calling the third dimension, the physical reality. So,
Yeah.
from that perspective, is this just a great learning lesson from your point of view, or is there fundamentally more to it than just the experiences that we're having and lessons that we're learning. And again, if you believe in the idea of reincarnation, that we just
Oh,
come back
absolutely.
and do this over and over
Yeah,
and
we would.
over and over again.
Yeah, we come back for reincarnation, but that is more on a personal level. The reason why we come back for reincarnation is because we haven't fulfilled our purpose, which is learning to help each other just for the sake of helping. And we do it throughout our lives, but we just don't do it enough as much as God would like us to do. Because the ultimate goal for that is to come home and stay home. But I believe the answer to all the questions here is we need to learn what we need to do next is stop avoiding those ones who are coming up next, and that is our children. We need to learn to teach them better. We need to get them to understand that, hey, don't let this regime, change hands from the one that it is now into another regime that's coming through. We need to teach them that a regime is not the way to do this. But in order to teach them to do that, we have to stop just pushing computers in front of them and not having any actual real talk with them. Because even though we have Facebook and we have all these social groups, children are just no longer social anymore. I mean, we see that already when children are sitting around and there's 10 or 12 of them and they're all talking to each other while they're looking at their phones. They're talking to each other through the phone. So, unfortunately, a lot of this technology that we have developed in this world is not helping the world at all. And we have to take a step back and start getting back in touch with our children so they can get back in touch with themselves and in touch with each other so they can learn from our what we would call mistakes and hopefully move forward in a better way. But the only way that we do that is teach them the important things in this world. We don't, when I was a kid, when I went to school, I didn't need to learn history or physics and all this other crap. If you would just teach me how to read and write and some basic math, and I would get through in this world because all I know how to do now is read and write, and I have basic math, and I've still gotten to the point where I am now. If I really wanted to know what the 50 states were or the cities of all the states, I could just look at a map. I don't need to know the exact names of everything. Again, this is where all misdirection comes in. And so we need to get back to basics and telling them what this world is really about and what we're really here for. And try to get back to that and hopefully that they will build on that themselves and getting to a place where we don't need all these distractions in this world. But again, we are, in a sense, I don't like to use the word failing because it's not really a failure. It's about learning to do things for ourselves. But we are failing in a sense where we're teaching our kids it's okay to sit in front of your phone all day and take pictures of yourself and trying to get a dopamine effect on Facebook all day long to let people know how wonderful you are. You're already wonderful, and that's one of the things we need to teach our kids is they're already wonderful, they're already good, and we can do so much better. But until we do that, we're at a stalemate right now. We need to get back to basics. We've lost it. So we need to
Yeah,
do that.
I like that. Getting back to the basics, getting back to the connection to each other, to community, to building
Yes.
not just communities online, but communities in person,
Real communities.
communities within the physical
Yes.
locations that you are at. And I also see, technology being a tool that is able to help people learn and help people
Right.
experience and help people, again, instead of having to go out to a bookstore and buy a book, you can go online
Yeah.
and read anything that you want in record time. And I think
Right.
that's a
We've just let
huge
go of the
benefit,
real
and
social
it's
part. That's
allowing.
all. Yeah. Just as
Exactly,
long as we get back to
yeah,
the
you
real
can.
social part of it, then we would be okay. But sociability is not some program on a. You're talking to a screen all day long when you should be just talking to people.
Beautiful. Well, Daniel, this was a wonderful conversation. I really appreciate you coming on today. If people are looking to pick up your book, what's the best way to find it? Um,
I got so into the conversation, I forgot about that, which is okay.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, because that's what we're here to do is talk to each other. If they're looking to find my book, they can just go on Amazon and they would punch into the search bar Daniel Jackson, The New Beginning, My Awakening as a Spirit Medium. and they can find it on there. It's $8 for the book, or it's $6.46 for the ebook. I only sell it for 8 books because I'm not trying to make $1 million. I'm just trying to help 1 million people. The story is about me and everything that happened to me and for me, but the real content that I want them to get to is chapter 12, the basics, because these are basics that are going to help people, and I want to implement them into their lives so they can help other people to implement it into their lives as well. Pretty simple.
Beautiful. Well, I appreciate the conversation. It was really nice to kind of get into a little bit of what we have going on today in the collective. So I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, you too. Be good. Don't do any stupid stuff.
Will do. Thank you again for listening to Changing the Channel with Joe Garner. If you enjoyed the show, please follow the podcast, hit the bell to know when a new show comes out, share with a friend, and rate us on whatever platform you're tuning in from. It helps get these messages out to more people to create the collective shift in reality we are here to experience. Make sure you interact with the Q&A and poll sections of the show so I can continue to provide content you enjoy. Finally, check out my website in the show notes to become a VIP of Changing the Channel and join the shift that is happening.